I don't know if we're working or not. Hang on. That's why I prefer to be like this. Welcome back to another video with me through my 26-man squad for England's 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Bear in mind, in this team there are only 23, but I will give you 3 more players at the end that I think should be making the World Cup. That is the wrong section. So if we come around to here, and we go around to England. I wonder, actually, I might not do it like that. I'm going to do it through here. So if I scroll over to international, go to England, you can already see a few of the players there. Right, so we'll start with the goalkeepers. Jordan Pickford. Oh, you know what? I can't bother to do this. I'm going to do it on this screen because it's just easier. Right, here we go. Right, so we'll start with the goalkeepers. Nick Pope. Now, Nick Pope, let's be honest, he's not going to be England's number 1, but he will definitely be making the squad. Nick Pope, for me, good goalkeeper. He's done really well so far this season at Newcastle. They've had the least goals conceded in the league, so they're doing really, really well. Pope being 30, he is moderately, old. Not too old. But he would definitely be a good backup, I think, for England. 3rd place goalkeeper, maybe. Next up, Jordan Pickford. There's not really much else to say. It's Jordan Pickford. He's done really well in the last big tournaments for England in the World Cup and the Euros. Barely conceding any goals. He's been England's number 1 for so long. I think he'll be called up, obviously, again, and do all the work again in net for us. Jordan Pickford, 1st choice goalkeeper. And the 2nd choice goalkeeper, I've got a person that can't really be argued with that much. Ramsdale, let's be honest, he was always getting called up for this World Cup because, well, let's just be honest, Southgate loves the dude. He's got to be called up, doesn't he, Aaron Ramsdale? But yeah, another goalkeeper. So we've got 3 goalkeepers, 3 very, very good goalkeepers that can get the job in between the sticks for England. I think they'll have a really good defensive force. Next up is a man who's not really fit at the moment. Kyle Walker is out with an injury, but he hasn't ruled himself out yet, and he said he will try to go. And as we know from England in the past, they like to take some players that aren't as fit. But Kyle Walker, I think is another one of those players. He will push himself. He will go to the World Cup. Let's be honest, where's England without Kyle Walker, to be quite honest? They're not really as good. But I think Kyle Walker's just a sensible option for at the back. He plays well up and down the wing-back position. He plays well in the heart of defence as well, just in case we need him there. Next up, I have Mr. Set Pieces himself, Kieran Trippier. He came to the last World Cup. He scored a blinding free kick past Croatia. And I feel that gives him a place in this World Cup squad. And he's been playing really well in Newcastle squad. So I think he'll be amazing for England at this World Cup. He'll do brilliant. Next up, I have John Stones. A man, let's be honest, it's no arguing that John Stones is one of the better defenders for England. I feel like he can push himself at this World Cup to do better than he has in previous major tournaments. And I think John Stones is a sensible option for solidity at the back. Next up is our first left back, or left wing back as is shown on this game, Ben Chilwell, another man that's injured. I couldn't really find a replacement for him. Oh, hang on, I actually think he's been ruled out of the World Cup. I've just realised that. I think Chilwell's been ruled out. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add Kyle Walker-Peters, and I think Kyle Walker-Peters will take backup spot for because I've just said that he's injured. Kyle Walker-Peters has done actually really well in the last few years, and I think it's about time he got a call up for England. Second left back is Luke Shaw, the starting one. He's got a blinder the other day against Aston Villa, as Man United went on to lose 3-1. Luke Shaw's not had the best start to the season, I'll give him that. But he's Southgate's first choice left back, no doubting in that. So Southgate's obviously going to bring him. I'm going to say Luke Shaw, easy as that. Second centre back is another man that's not been very good in the last few years. It's Harry Maguire, but he is amazing for England. Southgate absolutely trusts him in the heart of the defence. So I think Harry Maguire has to make the squad. Now, it was a bit confusing for me to decide this centre-back, whether I wanted Ben White or Fikayo Tomori, because they're both amazing players. So I've actually gone with both. I think a definite, and so will Fikayo Tomori. Let's be honest, Ben White, he's had a really good start to the season. And Fikayo Tomori has been really good in the last few years, developing, and I feel like they will both make it. So that's one of the men. So Fikayo Tomori's not on this sheet, but he is in my 26-man squad. Next, I've got another centre back, and I've got Tyrone Mings, because he deserves a place. Let's be honest, he deserves a place. There's not really much to say about Tyrone Mings. He's a solid centre back who I think will do well for England in this World Cup. On to the midfield now, and the first name on the sheet is Mr. Mason Mount. He is one of the better ones in this England squad. I think he'll do really well. This is going to be his first World Cup as well, and I think England will do really well in the heart of midfield with him. Mason Mount will play the ball around. He's a really good playmaker. He finds really good chances. I really love Mason Mount. Who doesn't? He's such an amazing, well-rounded player, and he's definitely got to go for England. Next is another man that's pretty obvious, Declan Rice. He has to go. He's been in the England squad for quite a few years now. Let's be honest, he is one of the better CDM options in England's ranks right now. I think he's got to be a certainty for this World Cup. He'll do really well, settling well into Qatar, and then out on the pitch, he will be defending and attacking really well. Next up is a man that obviously has to be brung. It's Bukayo Saka. Amazing start to the season for the lad. He's been absolutely amazing. I've got him in my FPL team every single week, it feels like, because he's so good. He gets goals, he gets assists, he cuts back and defends corners. You name it, he's good these days. Forget Euro 2020. That was just a bad tournament for him. He's amazing now. Bukayo Saka, you have my full trust, my friend. You've got to make this World Cup. If you don't, then going on behind the scenes. Another one who's had an absolutely blinding start to the season. Absolutely love Jude Bellingham with all of my heart. He's such a good midfielder. He has to be brung to this World Cup. Let's just be honest. With the playmaking, the running forward, the running back, Bellingham's just an all-rounded player. Absolutely brilliant. Has to be brung. Right. Now, some people aren't going to be happy with this one in the comments. And I know what you're thinking. Why is Jarrod Bowen here? I've sort of ran out of options, to be quite honest. Because Smith Rowe's injured, I would have bought him if he wasn't. Jarrod Bowen, West Ham haven't had the best start to the season, but Bowen has played well. I have seen his performances. He's actually done pretty well for West Ham this season. And it seems like Southgate's starting to trust him a lot. So I feel like Bowen will be making this squad. Is there anything to say about this guy? Another one, just like Bellingham, just like Saka, Harvey Elliott has had a blinding start to the season. He's been playing a lot for Liverpool. He's done so well in the Liverpool shirt this season. It's unbelievable. Goals, assists, Champions League. He's done so well in every competition so far. He just has to be in this England squad, I feel like, as one of the younger ones to come. 19 years of age, he has to make it in my eyes. He's had such a good start to the season, and it's time for him to be rewarded for it. On to the attackers, and the first man, of course, on the actual team sheet is the captain, Harry Kane. Of course, Kane has to make the squad. Without Kane, pretty much no goals for England. England will be screwed over without Kane, and they'll be hoping that he's still fit. He's going to be fit and not get an injury before going to the World Cup, because that would absolutely be terrible for England. Harry Kane, prolific goal scorer, absolutely brilliant, has to make the squad. Okay, he hasn't had the best start to the season, but Southgate trusts him so much. So Sterling is cool. Mediocre player at the moment. Since he's moved to Chelsea, he hasn't exactly been the best, but I feel like he can get better. He really can get better, and I think he's going to show that at this World Cup, and I think Sterling will just squeeze in. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Phil Foden, what a start to the season you've had, my friend. It's been so good for you, and you've definitely got to make this World Cup. If you don't, there's something wrong, because Phil Foden, absolutely amazing start to the season. Goals, assists, bagging a hat-trick against his rivals. He's done absolutely brilliantly this season. Love his performances, and I think he definitely has to be in the England squad. This one I was sort of on edge for, because I didn't know whether I wanted to bring Marcus Rashford or Jadon Sancho. I'm not bringing both, like I said, for Ben White and Tomori. I'm just taking Rashford. I think he's had a pretty good start to the season. I feel like he can develop on it at this World Cup and show that he's actually worth what he's worth. Man United, sure, they haven't had the best start, but I feel like Marcus Rashford is a given in this team. I know a few of you are probably thinking, Callum Wilson is in this team. Alfie, have you gone mad? Alfie, have you gone mad? Is probably what you're all thinking. No, I haven't. He's had an amazing start to the season with Newcastle. Callum Wilson, I think, will edge it over Tammy Abraham. I think he will. And I've got nothing against Tammy Abraham. He's an amazing player. I just think Wilson will make it over him because of the amazing start Wilson's had to the season. And I feel like deputy to Kane, I feel like that's just perfect for Wilson. He's a brilliant striker, and he can score goals if we so need it. The last man on the 23-man squad over there is Ollie Watkins. I went with him over Tammy Abraham. There's not really much to say, although I am now thinking to add Abraham. I think, yeah, Tammy Abraham's going to be a bit better than Ollie Watkins, actually. Yeah, Tammy Abraham to make it over Ollie Watkins. He's pretty good in an England shirt, I'd say. He's had a decent start to the season with Milan. He's done really, really well, I think. I think Tammy Abraham's got to make it. Right, so now, the three that aren't on here that I will be taking is obviously this man right here, which I told you about earlier. I will be taking Fikayo Tomori. Fikayo Tomori, I will be taking you to the World Cup if I was the manager. And I would take this lad right here. I would take James Maddison, because he's actually been decent at the start of this season. I think he's done really well, and he deserves a place, in my opinion, in this England squad. And the 26th man in this team is actually hard to come by, because I actually don't know who I want to bring. But I've started